One. We're going.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. Do you know why this episode is special, my lovely co-host?
No.
Because it is Series 6, Episode 9
Oh
of
my
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
We have reached the nice episode at long last.
Yeah. I hadn't even put that together. I even had a note in my thing that because this is the first episode 9 of Taskmaster, because Greg mentioned that.
Exactly. Well, it's not the 9th episode overall. It's the 9th episode of the series.
It's the first episode 9 they've ever had.
Yeah, you see what I mean, but it's obviously not the 9th overall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm not Emerson.
Yeah. My star-spangled man with a plan, Joseph.
Indeed. Yes.
That's a line from Captain America: The First Avenger. Yes. Does that make me Peggy Carter then? Aside from the fact I'm not a woman living in the 1940s.
Yeah. I was trying to think if there was another character from the...
I can't think of any other British Marvel characters. There's probably one that slipped under the radar.
A couple.
Yeah. But the Brits have been... I mean, the pre-Endgame MCU was dominated by the British.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah.
I'm not interested in post-Endgame MCU.
No, neither am
I. Honest. I did see...
No, neither.
I saw both Infinity War and Endgame in cinemas, and they were both good films. I think...
Nah.
I like them. I think Infinity War was a tiny bit better, but I liked them.
I lost interest in... I really started to lose interest in the Marvel series once Civil War happened, because it was clear that these people were never that the characters were never actually going to like each other, despite all of the evidence that should say they should, despite all of the work they did in the first Avengers movie to make it seem like they should like each other. And then they didn't. And then the movies got progressively more and more depressing as it went on, until they literally killed half the characters, which I didn't like. But then, more critically, they brought them all back for which, it's like, that's a terrible narrative stance to take.
I mean, I guess, but...
If you're going to kill everyone, then make them dead. Let's move on from there. But,
I don't think the MCU has the guts to kill off that many characters, though. I'm not going to say spoiler alert, because this happened like 3 years ago.
They only killed off Black Panther.
Iron Man died in Endgame.
Yeah, no.
The only reason Black Panther was killed off was because Chadwick Boseman died in real life.
I know. I did go and see.
I saw the first Black Panther. I've not seen Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
I'm not going to attempt the accent. Do
you want to know what happened in Wakanda Forever, or do you plan on seeing it?
I mean, I don't plan on seeing it, but more so for the sake of the people. How long has this film been out?
A couple of weeks.
Okay, I think it's too
Spoiler alert.
No, don't spoil it.
It's not even a spoiler. It's just I was going to make a glib one-liner.
All right. If you care about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which does not have Chadwick Boseman in it, then skip
flashback for a second.
Skip forward about 15-20 seconds.
The whole movie is Black Panther versus Mayan mermaids. That is the entire film. It's ridiculous. It's very good.
Who's playing Black Panther?
So Letitia Wright, who played his sister Shuri, becomes Black Panther. That's the whole movie is about her coming to terms with the fact that she is Black Panther. Also, they're low-key introducing in the comics, when they retired the Tony Stark character some point in the past, and the new Iron Man is a young black woman whose name I don't know and whose character I don't know, but they're introducing her as well in this film, and they're setting up for like the Secret War TV show. But the movie's not the movie's good. I quite liked it. Letitia Wright plays Black Panther, which is really unfortunate for Marvel because apparently while filming this film, Letitia Wright decided that she was an anti-vaxxer.
Oh dear.
And like really publicly, so it's like, oh good, the person with questionable
I'm just so sick of the anti-vax community.
Oh yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
But what's really hilarious is that Marvel apparently
it's sad because there's some really nice people, but the fact that anti-vaxxers stands in the way of you properly liking them.
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey, I think.
I think Jim Carrey is just crazy.
I mean, he's very crazy. I mean, like he was easily the best part of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Never saw that film. Never.
I saw the first one in cinema. This was like 3 or 4 weeks before lockdown. Yeah, came out on Valentine's Day in the UK, weirdly enough. What an interesting way to...
Yeah, that film ended up being in theaters longer than almost any other movie because there wasn't anything being released right after it.
I mean, I saw quite a few films in the first, like, 2 or 3 months of 2020. I saw Jojo Rabbit, great film. I obviously saw the Sonic film. I saw... What else did I see? The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. And I saw Parasite.
So all those movies are in my local theater for like an hour. So it's not particularly I don't really get the chance to see them. Last movie I saw was the Harley Quinn film before COVID.
Was that Birds of Prey?
Birds of Prey, yeah. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, whatever the hell it's called.
The last film I saw in cinemas was either Bullet Train or Elvis. I think it was Bullet Train.
Bullet Train was so good.
I mean, I feel like every comedy film has to, like, it can't just be like a quick hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes done deal anymore. It has to be at least 2 hours, and it has to have it has to be overly complex.
And it's just that nobody.
I'm not saying Bullet Train's a bad film. I liked it.
Yeah, it's just that nobody wants to make simple comedies anymore because most of the time those don't make a lot of money.
If you want a simple comedy, Rowan Atkinson Man vs. Bee is all right in that field.
Hold on, let's see what I've watched recently. I'm going through my Letterboxd.
Shall I start with the prize task while you...
Well, no, I've got it up. So, like, disappointing movie. Oh, yeah, I saw Wonder Woman 84 when that came out on streaming. That was very disappointing. Black Widow would have been great in 2016. The Suicide Squad was amazing. No Time to Die, I famously fucking hated.
Yeah, we've been there. Did you see the Batman with Robert Pattinson?
I did not.
I saw that, and I thought it was one of the best superhero movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. I saw No Way Home, which I think I might have mentioned. I really liked it right up until the ending.
I've not seen any of the Spider-Man films. Weirdly.
They're all right. I didn't watch some of them.
I think it's weird because isn't he like one of the more comedic MCU characters? He's not Deadpool levels of comedic.
Yeah, he's generally more comedic.
I think maybe that's just because he's young.
What else did I see? Hold on, I saw...
Do you remember Shazam, that DC film that came out a few years ago?
Didn't see it, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
That was basically sort of the DC universe's slightly more family-friendly answer to Deadpool.
Yeah. What else did I see? Oh, I saw that Ryan Reynolds movie on Netflix, The Atom Project. That was middling. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Boy, they did...
Is that the one where he has the weird third eye?
Yeah, and boy, did they do Scarlet Witch dirty. It's like totally just...
That third eye was like the worst CGI I've seen in a long time.
There's worse. You just haven't seen it yet.
I mean, CGI is going on a downfall because no one needs to prove themselves with it anymore.
It's just because they're all fucking cheap. But Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness sucked. Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh yeah, I did see
was
that one.
Great film. And then my number one of the year I saw.
I love the ugly Sonic in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ugly Sonic being a plot point was great. Top Gun Maverick. I loved Top Gun Maverick.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, I'd so recommend it. It's so good.
It's the highest grossing film of the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who went to see it and said he loved it.
Up until Avatar.
I'm just not a big Tom Cruise fan.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess you have to separate art from artists.
It's barely like Tom Cruise is playing Tom Cruise, but the thing you have to remember is that Tom Cruise was the character in the first movie as well, so it's like it doesn't matter. What else was there? Oh, I saw Jurassic World Dominion, which was okay. Elvis was very real. Thor: Love and Thunder.
I love
Bullet
Baz Luhrmann
Train.
as a director.
Baz Luhrmann's so good.
He's got such a great, interesting style. It's like
I loved Romeo plus Juliet so much.
I did not.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
We watched because we had to.
We had to watch. You had to watch it in English class because you were doing the unit on Shakespeare.
Yes,
just like everybody else who's ever seen this fucking movie.
And I infamously within my class did not like it.
It's such a fun film. And then
the thing is, I'm just not a fan of Shakespeare. I think he's just really overplayed, pun not intended, and overrated.
Yes, the progenitor of most of modern literature is overdone. What a good view on that. Oh god, what else? Oh, I watched Confess Fletch, which was a John Hamm murder mystery comedy based on the Fletch series of movies, and then I saw Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda
as
Forever.
I said, probably about 5 minutes ago. My review on Wakanda Forever is fish people, anti-vax Black Panther, and also surprisingly poor naval tactics from the Wakandans. That's my review of it in one sentence.
You heard that. You heard it here first. Shall we talk Taskmaster?
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing else before we do that. I mentioned this last year, but right now every November there is the charity telethon on Twitch called Desert Bus for Hope, which is raising money for the Child's Play charity. It's a live streaming video game based telethon where a group of Canadian comedians play the infamously terrible game Desert Bus around the clock until they have run out of money, because each hour they play is bought by the amount of donations they have. As of right now, they have just entered day 3. How
long does that game go on for?
The game 1 point in the game takes 8 hours to achieve.
Fuck off.
Assuming that you don't crash the bus during the game, it can go on infinitely. But they are currently 3 days in. They have 153. They've done 72 out of 153 hours so far. They'll probably be going at least until Saturday or Sunday, if you're listening to this on Thursday, which is when we put this out. And as of right now,
I can't imagine living in somewhere like Arizona, man. I don't imagine.
They're not in Arizona.
No, I'm talking about the game Desert Bus is set in a place that's like Arizona.
Phoenix is notoriously called a monument to man's hubris, but this year
I just can't imagine driving for that long and just seeing fuck all.
Well, that's not an accurate depiction of Arizona, Emerson. People do live there. It's just that the game is supposed to be intentionally very boring. But this year so far they have raised $451,000. They'll probably go on to raise somewhere in the vicinity of $1 million before they're done. If you would like to go watch them, they are on Twitch at Desert Bus, or you can visit them online at desertbus.org. And that's
Prize
it
task.
for charity.
Prize task.
Yes.
Prize task.
Prize task. Let's see this horrible prize task.
Who wants to... Did you do it last week?
I did it last time, so it's up to you.
I'll do it this time. So, our famous five have been tasked to bring in the most pleasing thing that is the same size as a cat. So we'll start with Tim, and he has brought in his toast rack shaped like a cat skeleton, or probably is a real cat skeleton. Just
it's a Halloween decoration. I looked it up.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a great alternative use of something.
Yeah.
I put my comment very sarcastically says delightful.
I love it. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny thing, and the way they described it as the cat sort of like
died painfully.
It like if the cat was pulling this pose in life, it would sort of look like it had just been scared by something.
Yes.
Like if you've seen, like its back is arched upwards, its tail is curved over its back, and yeah. Russell has brought in a cat snack, and it's basically just a model of a cat made out of various snacks, and it looks disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say. Asim.
It's not much to say about that one, honestly.
Now, I've got some things to
I like Asim.
I've got some things to ask about Asim. So he says he's brought in his little sister's cat-shaped pillow. He says his daughter is 9.
His sister, sorry.
His sister was 9. Asim, at the time of recording this, was either 31 or 32. So, surely...
I've seen people with weird family age ranges like that. That's not entirely out of the question.
I mean, I just found it a bit surprising.
It also just could be that he had to swap out a prize really late.
Well, it was very obviously not his little sister's, or at least it had not been used very long because it still had the price tag on it.
Yep.
And I wrote in my notes, busted and disgusted.
This thing looks like a toy, like it's a mascot or like a...
It's like it's sort of like an anime cat pillow. Basically, what it is.
Chibi is, I think, what it's
Chibi, yeah. It doesn't look very big. It's like about the size of a small cushion you'd get on a sofa.
The size of a small cat. I don't know what it's supposed to be like a character from, but I assume it is a property of something.
Well, most things in Japan are like...
Yeah, no. I just don't know which.
Well, I don't. It's yeah. You see what I mean.
Yeah.
Alice has brought in a cat-sized pavlova, and when Greg asks if she made it herself, Alice doesn't give him a straight answer, but that's all Greg needs.
Well, yes.
And Greg is just like, I've heard quite enough, and silences her. Lisa has brought in a massive... Yes. A literal pile of shit.
Please let it be a bar stool.
No.
Let's talk the scores.
Yeah.
So Lisa's pile of shit gets 1 point. I'm amazed it got 1 point, if I'm being honest. Asim's pillow gets 2. Alice's pavlova 3. Russell's cat snack amazingly gets 4. And Tim Vine gets the full 5 points.
And now we drop the Taskmaster Joe theme here.
It's the Taskmaster and his name is Joe, and he's gonna tell us what we should know. It's Taskmaster Joe.
Right. So I really liked Tim's cat toast rack.
It was good.
I would have that
yeah.
in my house if Halloween just hadn't ended and all the decorations are going back in storage. Also, if I ate enough toast for a toast rack to be necessary. But I like that. That's first place. Asim gets second place because it doesn't matter the story behind it. It's very pleasing to look like. I believe the current internet slang for that is it's shaped like a friend.
Never, ever heard that, and that's probably going to date this podcast a bit.
I hope it does. I hope it. If us talking about Wakanda Forever in present tense doesn't date this, I hope that does. But,
to be fair, though, talking about things that have just come out isn't really dated. It's like doing old trends, really.
Yes, but
like say if this was a video podcast and we were both flossing, then that would date it very badly.
But I liked.
Why don't we do that for the?
No.
100? You sure?
No, I don't floss. I don't do trendy dances like that. But
what could we do on like the video episode?
We'll think of something.
Joe's eye reveal?
Nah, that's for episode 200. But
the show's not even at 200. Taskmaster's not even at 200.
Exactly. But
that didn't scare me at all.
Anyways, then I'm putting Russell and Alice in joint third because you can't go wrong with food. Russell's thing may not have looked very good, but it's still food. And then
I find it interesting that pavlova is a dish from Australia and New Zealand. I think it's more Australian than New Zealand, but it's from that region. But the pavlova, the dessert is named after the dancer who was not from that region at all.
I don't know anything about pavlova. So
pavlova was like a Russian ballerina, but the pavlova dessert originated in either Australia or New Zealand.
Interesting. But and then finally,
it's sort of like a chicken tikka masala kind of thing.
Finally, it's not a chicken tikka masala.
No, in like the sense of like, no, I mean like its origins are like a chicken tikka masala is technically a British dish, but it's inspired heavily by Indian cuisine. That's what I'm sort of saying, I guess.
You guys raided the world for spices and decided you didn't like any of them. That sort of thing.
I mean, what is good British food other than a roast dinner or fish and chips?
Good British food is Indian curry. But
yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
At least we know how to make a good Taskmaster.
Yes,
which is all that matters.
Moving on, I have disqualified Lisa because I don't find a pile of shit pleasing.
Imagine having to take that home. Imagine having
Alice at the end, the winner, whose name I definitely didn't just say.
This episode's been out for 4 years. If you don't know this by this point,
the winner, whose name I definitely didn't just say, actually remarks as they get up, "I didn't want to win this one. You can just barely hear it."
Yeah.
And then, actually, before we move on to the first task, there is a Hawaiian shirt count drop we can do for the first time in ages.
Okay. God, this is like. This jingle's been left in the attic. It's all covered in dust, but here it is.
Hawaiian shirt count.
Yeah, so Tim has busted out a jacket that he wore earlier in the season, which is black with slightly glossier black little paisley floral patterns on it. But more to the point, Lisa is wearing like an undershirt with little flowers on it that and like a sleeveless top, so it looks like just her sleeves are flowery. It's like, I am so impressed that we finally are able to do that.
Me too.
It's taken so long, and now we're going to go on to blowing fucking bubbles.
Yeah. Then this is where we get the title of the episode as well. This is you, by the way.
Yes, I know. This is make the biggest bubble and then burst it with your nose. You have 10 minutes. Your time starts now. Now, I would like to point out, having just read that I believe Taskmaster.info actually is wrong here because everyone on the show said blow the biggest bubble. Because there was actually a moment of contention from when they were doing the scoring where Tim Vine did not think that Russell Howard that Asim had not correctly had not actually blown a bubble and instead had just produced one in a bowl of liquid. Someone should email taskmaster.info and tell them that, because I definitely will forget as soon as we move on from this.
I have one very quick note to make. We have had two pretty disgusting moments back to back from Lisa, because she had the pile of shit in the prize task, and now she was thinking of blowing a snot bubble, of all things.
To be honest, I'm not as disgusted about that, because when you read the task, because of how it's phrased, because there's no comma in between bubble and the word and,
Fair.
I definitely thought that for a second too.
Oh, by the way, do you know how we were talking about them? They named the What Kind of Pictures episode wrong on YouTube.
Yes.
I just checked. It's been about 5 days since episode 8 came out, and they have not updated it.
Okay, so maybe they're not listening to us. Okay. Yeah. But
damn anyways, you, Taskmaster! You should listen to me.
Yes. I did like that Alice thought of an economic bubble as a thing that could burst, which, to further date this episode, the cryptocurrency market has recently taken a dive, mostly based on the on the prevailing economic conditions at the moment, which aren't great, but also specifically because one of the larger cryptocurrency exchanges basically got revealed to be based on a bunch of lies. Based off of like one news article in a cryptocurrency specific news source, which I've learned this because it's been making like the front lines of every financial news source. And I have like the Wall Street Journal as a thing that makes pings on my phone. And so it's like, I'm just imagining like bursting the crypto bubble by pressing the post button on that article with your nose.
Would you be able to do all that in 10 minutes?
Well, you just have to hit post, and then that can just happen. It never says that it's like you can't just delay your it can't be a delayed reaction.
This is great, Joe. All you need to do is build a time machine from scratch and then go back to when this episode was filmed, take the place of one of the contestants.
If I could do a time machine from scratch, when did this episode come out? This episode aired June 27th, 2018. I would just buy Bitcoin, and just because that shit went up to $60,000.
Well, no, you need to invest in Bitcoin back when it's really small, so that you can have all the money.
Like if I had a time machine,
mid to late 2000s is when you'd want to buy Bitcoin.
If I had a time machine, I would turn into Biff Tannen from Back to the Future Part 2, where he's got like the casino with his name on it and everything like that from the Sports Almanac. You'd never hear from me again.
Anyway, can we discuss what the contestants did?
Yes, I'm sorry. So
don't worry, it's just typical Joe.
We get the Bubble Brothers, who make bubbles using dish soap. They make bubbles using dish soap. The Bubble Brothers, of course, are Asim and Tim. They've always been referred to that. But
oh yeah, we just haven't mentioned it. The show's never mentioned it. Asim and Tim, RKA, the Bubble Brothers.
Yes.
Remember what RKA stands for?
Yes. Rarely known as.
Exactly. Or maybe NKA, never known as.
Never known as. But Asim, I don't have many notes for this, because most of this is just purely visual comedy of grown adults trying to blow bubbles.
Tim swears.
But, Tim does swear. Tim swears. Tim says
mildly
as he tries to catch a bubble before it pops. My favorite
very American swear word as well. It's like,
I never thought of that, but yes.
Joseph Zeta, you're a goddamn son of a bitch, and I love it. That's how is that?
No one in America has that accent, but yet that is still an immediately recognizable American accent.
Of course it is.
But my favorite...
I'm sure to say that no one in America has that accent is not completely ludicrous.
Yeah. But Asim, my favorite moment is that he manages to get his first bubble that he blows. He like chases it down to the surface of the table with his face. I was really expecting him to ram his face into the table, but he just barely. But the bubble popped before he could get close to it. Eventually, we're basically watching.
I wonder when we'll get a proper medical injury on the set.
I hope at some point. But,
it's not happened yet in the 14 series.
No. I thought somebody got hurt or something recently, or Alex got hurt or something.
I can't remember.
Someone tell us in the comments or email us. Nobody ever emails us.
This is basically just a book club at this point. The podcast is basically gives us an excuse to talk about this. That's all it is.
Aside from Mike Wozniak dislodging his hemorrhoid.
Oh yeah.
But
that is a great moment.
That's in season 12.
11.
But
and we'll get there in about 4 or 5 seasons time.
Yeah. My notes from this say basically we watch 2 grown men make bubbles and chase them with their faces. But at the end of this, Tim gets a 3-inch bubble, Asim gets 4 inches, and then
it's a half a bubble though, technically.
Yes, and we do get the aforementioned question that Tim has whether or not the Asim blew that bubble or if Asim just made that bubble, which is an interesting question to have. And more to the point, Asim goes, well, shit, I'm out of the Bubble Brothers. So I don't know.
The greatest split since Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Although technically this happened before.
Daft Punk is a bigger split than that. Daft Punk splitting up made me actually sad. I love Daft
I said the
Punk.
biggest split since Daft Punk.
Daft Punk splitting up is a much greater split than anything else.
To be fair though, this did happen before that.
Yes,
and anyway, this was also like a year ago.
Yeah.
Shame because they've been friends for like years.
Yeah, I think they just didn't want to make music anymore, which I respect. I wish they didn't, but I respect.
I mean, who can you name a modern Daft Punk song after Get Lucky?
Why would Get Lucky is not even in like my top 10. The entirety of Discovery, the album, is amazing. Like, oh my god, Crescendals, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger.
We're not going to sing
Love?
any of these.
I mean, I can't sing like a synthesizer can. Go listen. If you're listening to this, go listen to Discovery. Preferably go find the anime movie that Discovery is the soundtrack for and watch that. And then actually there's a guy on the internet called Pluffaduff who does music mashups who just decided to redo the entirety of Discovery as mashup songs. I particularly like his version of Crescendals, which he has mashed up with Fireball by Pitbull.
I hate that song. I really hate that song.
It's such a good mashup, though.
I'm talking about the song Fireball.
I know.
I don't like Pitbull as an artist.
Pitbull's fine. I listened to Timber for the first time in ages, and I was like, if you put a gun to my head, I would never have guessed that it was Kesha and Pitbull together.
I mean, that's quite a nostalgic song for me. Yeah.
But
anyway, shall we continue?
Yes,
Alice
Levine. Alice Levine is the only one to play this game really laterally. She argues that bubbles are just air with a
sorry
membrane.
if it's quite loud outside.
I can't hear anything.
Well, I can just hear it. There's just people in the street shouting below me. I'm sorry.
Anyways, just cut this bit out. But
it's funny. It makes good content.
Sure, whatever. Anyway, Alice argues bubbles that are just air with a membrane. To prove this, she fills a garbage bag and tapes it shut, and then she fills a garbage bag with air, closes it, tapes a bunch of pins to her nose to pop it, and
I was quite scared for Alice during this.
I wasn't. I was laughing too much as because Alice is like trying to pop this bubble with like pins taped to her nose like a demented Woody Woodpecker, and she just goes up and down, up and down, up and down because it's really not working.
Imagine if you hit that with too. Imagine if you hit that with too much force, and the tape comes loose, and the needle goes into your eye or something.
That would not happen.
Never say never.
I don't believe so, but anyways, Greg does give her shit as to whether or not she popped it or like pfft it, which doesn't matter. He eventually agrees on it once Alex says, like bubble wrap is air wrapped in plastic. I would humbly request, Emerson, that for the cover, for the thumbnail of this video, we used a picture of Alice with just her face buried in the plastic bubble, and she's like bent over the table.
Sure, why not?
It's hilarious. Then up next, her bubble's half a meter, which I don't know how big half a meter is in feet off the top of my head.
It's about... Oh, God. 25 It's about 22, 23 inches.
Okay. Next up, we have Russell.
19.6.
Okay.
So
Next
just
up,
under 2 feet.
Okay. Next up, we have Russell and Lisa. Russell asks how to blow a bubble and has Alex look up ways for him to do that. He then eventually just tells Alex to prepare him bubble solution while he finds chewing gum in the kitchen.
Not bubble gum, chewing gum.
Yep, that is not revealed until later. It is not bubble gum. It is chewing gum.
This made me write yuck in my notes again.
It is very yucky because while he's trying to make soap bubbles, Russell is chewing this massive, like, eraser-sized lump of gum in his mouth and is trying to, like, stick it out so he can blow air into it, and it's just not working. And it's it's so disgusting. But it just doesn't work. He gets a 4-centimeter bubble. And then this is nicely contrasted with Lisa Tarbuck, who... Does she have kids? I don't remember off the top of my head if Lisa has kids.
I mean, I don't know.
But Lisa just immediately goes into the kitchen, gets some bubble solution that she makes out of, like, dish soap, and then takes a wire coat hanger and just effortlessly forms it into a bubble wand that she just waves around, gets huge bubbles made, and just pops one. And that's 8 inches, and that is the exact sort of, like, skilled efficiency at this nonsense that she would do if she had kids, and I don't know if she has kids.
There's nothing on her Wikipedia page.
Nope.
What I did learn from her Wikipedia page is that she's a middle child.
Huh. But maybe one of her brothers, maybe her brother or her sister have kids.
Her brothers, she has an older sister and a younger brother, but that's neither here nor there. Is that becoming my catchphrase? That's neither here nor there?
Maybe. But it doesn't matter. She knew exactly what to do, and she did it very well. So, in the end of that score, we get Alice wins 5 points. Lisa gets 4 points. Asim 3, Tim 2, Russell 1. And just before we move on, there is a master task for this, which is obviously this one was I don't say obviously because there have been versions where this is not the first one to do that, but this one was the first one, season 6, episode 9 of Taskmaster. Then Basti Test season 3, episode 3, season 2, episode 1 of Stormmaster, and then Surmastari season 3, episode 6, which came out in 2022. Interestingly, the Surmastari version, it specifies that the bubble must be blown using the provided soapy water, which is interesting.
Speaking of Surmastari, I switched my VPN on to see that to the US to see that there are some that you can watch bits of Kongan Bafala, Stormester, and Basti Test.
On YouTube, yes.
Yeah, and there's subtitles as well.
Yes, they are. It's very interesting. Although I was reading online that apparently the guy who is the Taskmaster for Kongan Befaller very recently got in trouble in Norway for saying racist things in public.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear indeed. Apparently he was, like, reported to the police for this. The article wasn't well translated, and I'm not entirely sure what the hell Norwegian law has to say on that. Please don't get into any arguments in the comments. I'm just saying that to, like, for posterity. So
I will say, though, Kongan Belfala does... it does some interesting... I know, like, we've got the Champion of Champions in the New Year's treat. They have had a Champion of Losers special. So people who've, like, either come last or never won an episode... will get a chance to win one for a change.
Yeah, and Kongan Befaller...
I'd like to see this idea. People have wanted to do, or have thrown around the idea of, like, a loser of losers, but that might be a bit too hard, too harsh.
Well, I mean, there's only one Nish Kumar.
I mean, Alex has said he doesn't want to do it. Yeah. I mean, wait till we get to Series 9, and, oh, God. Wait till we get to Series 9 and you have to watch David Baddiel.
I've heard. I'm waiting. But yeah, that is the
at 40 minutes in,
we are talking about Task 2, which is up for you.
Did we
And I
talk?
imagine
Did we do
we're
the
going-
scores?
Uh,
Alice
yes.
5, Lisa 4,
Yeah,
Aston
yeah,
3,
yeah, I
Tim 2,
did.
Russell 1. No, Taskmaster Joe can't really be done here.
No, I
VT Task 2, this one should be quite quick.
you're
Performance.
going to have to put sound bites for this one.
Yeah, but we don't have to spend much time
Yeah.
talking about it. Perform a scene from Taskmaster the Musical. Best scene wins. You have 1 hour. One of the things in my notes is people usually don't really like musicals. I personally, I'm impartial to them.
I was going to say,
I think
I'm
that-
ambivalent.
Yeah. Well, obviously, there's some musicals I like more than others. Very quickly, to go back to us, me studying things for GCSE, we had to learn, analyze Defying Gravity from Wicked, the musical,
Okay.
and sort of like all the musical techniques of that. We actually went to see Wicked in the West End. It's one of the longest running West End shows, I think.
I saw Hamilton. I really liked it. I've seen Rock of Ages, and I really didn't like it.
I didn't like Wicked. I thought the songs were good, but everything else was not great.
And then also, Mamma Mia is technically
Okay.
musical, and I fucking love that. And just before we just go any further, I just want to point out that both teams, this is a team task.
Speaking of Mamma Mia, my dad told us he got us tickets to see ABBA Voyage live in January of next
you
year.
gotta tell me what that looks like, because holy shit, it's ABBA Vocaloid. I don't know what the hell is gonna happen there.
I mean, he said he'd booked it. I mean, I'll have to go back through a couple of months worth of messages, but yeah.
I gotta see what that looks like.
Anyway, Greg hates
But,
musicals.
one thing I just wanted to mention before we finish this is that both of them did original songs for this, like they made up a song.
Yeah.
I definitely, if I had been in this, as soon as he said that, I was thinking of doing just adapting an existing song to Taskmaster, like in Rock of Ages, which is a jukebox musical and doesn't do a great job of being a jukebox musical.
I think knowing Greg, though, he would have said that was cheating.
I would have pulled up Mamma Mia and Rock of Ages as examples and fought for it, because I definitely would have put a lot of
Didn't
energy
like-
into singing.
Didn't like the two male members of ABBA write Mamma Mia.
I don't remember. I think Mamma Mia.
They
was
definitely had a huge
collaborative
part to
effort.
play in it.
Yes.
Anyway, Greg hates musicals and cannot be friends with anyone who likes them, i.e. Tim.
Yes.
So Team Control Delete is up first. I'll just play the song here.
Hello, I'm Alex Horn. This is Taskmaster, task must be done.
My first task is to find my son.
Here I am. And the task is done. Now another task must be done.
My first task is to find my mum.
The task is done. Taskmaster, lots to be done. Lots of tasks, lots of fun.
So basically what it is it's not really, it's more of like a musical summary of what Taskmaster is. And one of Asim's great quotes is Tim Vine is fucking weird.
Yeah. Tim Vine is,
And
this
he-
is apparently just Tim Vine being let loose with this task.
Yeah. And the Tim Vine is fucking weird thing will come into fruition even more in the next task. I thought it was alright. Team Funk. What they've done is they've done a more... I should read more from my Taskmaster.info notes. They made a song about confirming Gralix, the shit name for Greg and Alex.
That is not what they confirmed at all. What are you talking about?
They made a song about Alex admitting to Greg how much he loved him and wanted to
And-
be his son.
That is not a ship. That is a found
All right.
family at best. That is a...
I got that. I was just reading my notes, and I just in a flurry I put Gralix confirmed. Although I think that's a cute name for them both, even though Greg, if I presented like a, if I saw Greg Davis in the street and I presented him with a piece of artwork of him Frenching Alex, he probably would punch me in the face.
I would too. Let's just continue on.
I could sue you for assault if you did that.
That's nice. Continue on.
Yeah, they made us. I'll just play the soundbite of a Team Funk song.
Hello, I'm Alex Horn. This is Taskmaster, task must be done.
My first task is to find my son.
Here I am.
And the task is done. Now another task must be done.
My first task is to find my mum.
The task is done. Taskmaster, lots to be done. Lots of tasks, lots of fun.
Yeah, and then they actually got Alex to do a solo, and
I was very surprised they got Alex to sing.
I think that was what sold them for me, because Alex is definitely a man who's clearly uncomfortable by a lot of things. And he looked like he was being held at gunpoint while he sang that song. Yeah. So the team of three, the team of two get 3, and the team of 3 get 2. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Do you have any objections, Joe?
I didn't particularly like either of them. I would have given them all 2 points.
Okay, it's not. Is it
or
worth
all
playing?
3 points.
Is it worth playing?
It's not
Okay,
worth it.
all right. We're not gonna. All right,
Yes.
so on to another task, a task that I quite like, but I think
I
you're covering.
love this one. I'm so glad I get to do this one.
This is technically a solo task, but yeah,
Yes.
over to you.
So we start out outside a store. It's called JPS Stationers. It doesn't matter. I love this.
I think one thing we should note about this is that this is definitely a small,
Yes.
independent stationery shop.
Yes.
It's not like a Waterstones or something.
No. We don't really have stationery shops in the U.S. anymore. Outside of like maybe major areas. This is something that it's like I don't think would survive out here in like the suburbs.
You'd have to get all your stationery at like a post office or something.
No, like Walmart.
Oh, okay. I mean, we've got the WH Smith's chain. It's sort of just like it's got your stationery, it's got books, it's got cheap electronics like headphones and stuff, and there's usually a post office branch within them.
Fascinating. Yeah. We just usually have bookstores and then other stores that do that. Post offices are their own thing. But so Tim walks up to this store. Alex is outside. Tim is given a task that has pound notes falling out of it.
And they have to chase it.
Yes, he has to chase it. He thinks that's part of the task. It's not. His task reads, make an outfit of things bought in this stationery shop. You have 10 minutes and 50 pounds to do your shopping and 20 minutes to make your outfit. Your time starts now. And then Tim goes inside and starts buying things. And we cut back to the studio to see Alice, Lisa, Asim, and
Russell
looking at each other in confusion because they definitely didn't do this.
I love tasks like this. I mean, there are fewer solo tasks now, but I mean, like ever since Josh Widdicombe back in series 1, people have just been on the lookout for tasks like this.
Yeah, and then anyways, that we get Tim immediately starts creating things, and we get the best know your contestants bit ever is that they knew that Tim would enjoy this. They knew that Tim would make a pun from this. They knew that Tim would make a funny pun, so everybody else has to guess the pun Tim created to describe his outfit.
What a great idea. Just let me say
and
that.
if they get it, they get a point. If nobody gets it, Tim gets 2 points. And so
no one got it. I think we'll just say that.
Tim's outfit, it's great. It's like cloth pencil cases for shoes, a paper file holder, like one of those. What is it? What is the thing called?
I think it was just
It's like
I think
it's like one of the things you line up
a
on a
paper
bookshelf
hole,
and you
a paper-
and you stick papers in it.
I think it's just we'll
that's
just call it a
hat.
paper holder. And
He's
also
got
it's got like a little flap that his nose is like
Yeah.
pressed up right
Well-
against, like a comical cartoon
Well,
character.
it's an edge that he has cut out, and then construction paper pants, construction paper all
Tim
around
was
him,
right in
and
his element, and you could really see it.
and then he's taken a steam railway calendar and plastered the pictures all over himself. He looks like a rejected character from Starlight Express, which is the absolutely insane model train themed musical that Andrew Lloyd Webber made in the late.
It's
in the
one of his
early
lesser
90s.
known ones.
I
for sure.
love Starlight Express as a concept so much, and the only thing that I really am annoyed by is that because Starlight Express is like what happens if you drop acid in a model train shop and then roller skate away. But the problem is that Andrew Lloyd Webber wanted to make a Thomas the Tank Engine musical, which is why his production company is called the Really Useful Company, among many
Really
other
useful
things.
group, but yeah.
Really, and
Because I remember it stood for, it was abbreviated to RUG.
Yes, okay. But he wanted to make a Thomas the Tank Engine musical and was denied, presumably because anyone involved with Thomas the Tank Engine had at least seen one of his plays and knew what he was about. And I get that.
This was before the Magic Railroad movie as well, so they couldn't.
a decade before the Magic Railroad movie. No, this is like the people who held the rights.
Anyway, Joe, would you like to get back on track? Pun not intended.
Yes, that pun was intended. Anyways,
No, it wasn't.
Tim looks like a rejected character for Starlight Express, and then everybody has to guess using the provided whiteboards under their chairs. I didn't go back and look and see if the whiteboards were there before, but everybody seems a little bit surprised, or they were acting, that there were things under their desk. Alice guessed the pun pulling into the train stationary. Asim said stationary man. Lisa said Choo Choo Chiboody, which is based off of a song called Choo Choo Chiboo I've never heard of. And then Russell also made a train stationary joke. Tim's joke was tracksuit. It was a tracksuit, which I thought was great. And I love that task. I absolutely loved that task.
It was right up Tim's alley.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's my turn to do the final VT task, and I'll make it quite quick, as we're already nearly an hour in. Make this plastic bag as heavy as possible. You have 10 minutes, at the end of which the bag must hang unassisted on the scales for at least 1 minute. Heaviest bag at the end of that minute wins. So, up first, we have Russell Howard. Russell filled his plastic bag with various objects. I didn't write it down, did you?
Soccer ball, bolt cutters, and a rolling pin, and wellies were what I saw.
Well, that was just an assortment of thing, and his bag weighed 10 kilograms.
Yes.
Asim had a similar strategy, but
Bag
his
of rice, crystal ball, bowling ball, a lobster, books, and flower pots, among other things.
yes, but his bag weighed 16 kilograms, so he was ahead of Russell. Alice filled the bag with water, nothing else, just water, and the bag ended up weighing 20.5 kilograms. Lisa put a bucket in her bag to reinforce it before putting bricks and water in the bucket.
The bag leaked like a sieve.
It did. I'm amazed that... Did she, like, tape the handle of the bucket to the handles of the bag?
She just managed to get it entirely... She was very lucky, because I thought she was going to put the bricks in the bucket, and she didn't. Somehow the bag didn't split.
Yeah, I was amazed. And her bag comes to 27 kilograms. And
Which-
now...
She, just to point out, she did just leave the hose in it so that the water would rush in as quickly as it rushed out.
That was a big old waste of water, wasn't it?
There's a
Now-
river right nearby.
Tim. Now, poor Tim. You couldn't make this up if you tried, I swear.
This is hilarious. This is possibly the only time that... No, not yet. This is one of the only times that someone's outfit has come back to bite them. Because I was going to say it's the only time, but I'm fairly certain Phil Wang would have a different opinion.
So Tim is looking to strengthen the handles of the bag with duct tape. But as he's fumbling around, the hook sort of catches because there's like little poppers on his shoulders.
They're called epaulettes. It's actually
Epaulettes.
It brushed against the nape of his neck and then slid
Let
down
me
his shoulder.
let me describe all the cool things on my task, please.
Okay.
And there's no point now. Basically, the hook gets caught in the whatever poppers you said.
Epaulettes.
Epaulettes. And Tim doesn't notice it, so it's just sort of if he just looked down, he would notice it. But Tim completely loses his mind. He can't find the hook at all, and he spends basically the remaining 95% of his time trying to find it. Before
And he has to like clutch together a hook.
he then had to fashion his own hook before putting the bag onto the new hook, but the bag split anyway, sadly. Tim wandered around a bit more afterwards trying to find the hook, and then he just found it hanging on his thing.
It took him 15 minutes, and Alex knew where it was the whole time.
Alex is evil, I swear.
Also, Tim's bag broke mostly because he put a bowling ball in it. And bricks.
With nothing to reinforce
Support it,
yeah. So Tim sadly gets only 1 point. Russell 2, Alice 3, Asim 4, Lisa 5. So do you want to talk about this live task, Joe?
I will.
Could we wrap this up before an hour?
Yes. Just to note, the plastic bag task also was done season 3, episode 7 of Kongen Befaler.
No way. No, is that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, this is one of the more visual tasks and also one of the stupider ones, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. The task is pick up as many points as possible. The person holding the most points after 100 seconds wins. To explain, in front of each contestant on the stage is a child's swimming pool with a bunch of inflatable balls in it. I'm not even going to try and do the ball joke like we did the other time, but the balls have numbers written on them. This corresponds to a number of points. The balls.
I just want to say that some of the contestants put the balls in their mouth.
Yes.
That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say.
Russell Howard did that. It was very funny. But the balls have points written on them. The biggest is 10 points, and those are like two gigantic
exercise balls.
Exercise balls. I don't know what the other ones have written on them. We never really see them, but they go.
I assume they go like 5. I think the numbers.
Tennis balls are the smallest I saw.
I think they'd maybe be like 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. I'd assume those are the numbers because they usually make the most sense.
Something like that. They are not allowed to pick up the swimming pool themselves, and all the balls that they are holding have to be off the ground in their possession, not in like clothing. So we start off, Asim and Russell start popping the balls, which is a smart plan. I don't know how they managed that. Maybe they had keys on them or something.
Oh no, they exercise balls have like a stopper in them, so they just removed that.
Asim was popping the smaller ones too.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Well, they could have just took the stopper out of the exercise balls.
I thought that there was like audible popping, like poking through them.
I didn't hear anything. And anyway, they're not like balloons where it's a very quick noise.
Yeah. So we go through that. There's general madness. Really, the only one to pay attention to is Russell Howard, who, as mentioned, started shoveling balls into his mouth, which was absolutely disgusting. Alice Levine was smarter about this. She's holding them all while sitting down on the ground so that she doesn't have to lift them up as high or bend over. It's general chaos. Russell has the 2 exercise balls between his legs, barely off the ground. It's ridiculous.
Classic Taskmaster at its finest.
Yes. At the end of it, in no specific order, Russell went in no specific order. I'll just go in order. Russell got 68 points. He wins. Then
Alice and Tim
Tim
joined second.
Got 55. Lisa got 50, and Asim got 48.
Which means that Russell wins.
Russell wins the task, and Alice Levine wins the episode. She goes up and eats a little bit from each of the edible prizes and ignores the horse shit that Lisa brought in. And then finally, as the episode wraps up, just want to mention one other thing. At the beginning of the episode, there was a bit of banter where Alex was looking for a nickname. Greg said that he should be called Plankhead because there wasn't any difference in width between his neck and his head. And at the end of the episode, Greg is holding up a plank in front of Alex's face with a little picture of a face drawn on it. And that is the episode.
That is the end of the glorious episode 6, series 6, episode 9 of Taskmaster. So thank you for sticking with us. We've got one more episode left of series 6. Who do you think's going to walk away with the golden head, Joe?
I don't know. I haven't. You think I've been paying attention to the scores? You're funny.
Well, after this, we'll probably have a short break, and then we'll have our Christmas rambling episode, and then the future after that might be a little bit foggy, which we'll get to soon.
Yes.
But don't worry, we will definitely be back before the end of the year. I don't know why I'm saying this now. There's still one more episode left. But yeah, we will be back with the Series 6 finale next week and our Christmas special rambling episode closer to the actual date.
Yes.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.